pause menu.
Good
Speaking of
job,
getting out,
Rutledge.
it is currently, I want to do a live score update. Brooklyn and Boston are playing. It is a 3-1 series lead for Brooklyn, and the score is right now Brooklyn is got 40, Boston 38. 7 minutes and 48 seconds left in the second quarter.
Nice. And I'm sneaking up on you here, Rutledge. I'd watch out if I were you.
I see that. So the best way for me to win games in this game is to distract Connor by making him talk. Kobe! Oh, did you see that Kobe one-handed dunk? That was awesome.
You know what a great way for me to get you off track from the game, Rutledge? Talking about the fans.
Talking about the fans.
There's been a lot of craziness. There's been a lot of stories going on, uh, not on the floor during playoff games for all the wrong reasons. Rutledge. I think was it Kyrie got hit in the head with a water bottle. There was a fan that tried to play some air basketball last night at the Wizards.
Trae Young got
The
spit
Wizards
on.
game. Yeah, you got folks getting spit on. You got some interesting fan situation going on.
So here's my take on fans. And I was watching the Wizards game last night. And first of all, shout out to the security guard that absolutely just like owned the Wizards fan who just broke up a play and jumped in and did a layup. It was like a middle school dare, but it was just a bad middle school dare. Like, hey, I dare you to go on the court and dunk a layup while they're running a play. Like, don't. And Russell Westbrook had some talk on ESPN today, and he said it how we don't think of sports, but I think it was needed to be said. This is a job. This is their job. They take it very serious. These people get paid a lot. But on that, you as a fan, you bought a ticket. You spent money to show up to watch a sporting event. So act like you've been there before. Have a little bit of class. You know, you didn't show up to play in the sporting event. You should have taken middle school basketball more serious. But instead, you're here to watch the sporting event and drink a $12 beer. So sit there quietly and do that. So I don't like this is happening. I will admit as a fan, I'm a heckler. I'll openly say Georgia Southern University, we're a mean fan base, right? So it's not the matter of that I'm not against fans being fans. That's why we go to games. But I think it's wrong that we think this is acceptable behavior.
Rutledge, I couldn't agree more. I think that the NBA, like literally the next time the NBA starts to see has a fan interaction, they need to charge somebody to the fullest extent of the law. I do not want to overstate there. People are there for a good time. They're there to have fun. We've just been in a pandemic, right? We've had to watch so much sports without fans in the stands, and being all locked down. And what are we doing? We can't. We need to have nice things here. Come on, guys. What's going on? So I think that the more that we see issues with the fans, I mean, the NBA might start to put things like physical barriers up, right? That might be a thing. You could see that in a future CBA contract of that. So I think that the NBA should say, you know what, we're going to make an example out of the next person that really does something wild. And I'm not talking. I'm not talking just make sure they never get to go to a game again. I'm saying like, hey, you know, think about if you're walking down the street and somebody throw a water bottle at your head, right? That's assault, right? So I think that's something that should definitely be taken very much into consideration. And it doesn't really matter that Kyrie's super strong and this other guy is not. That doesn't matter. He's got a projectile, and I think that's pretty unsportsmanlike. And I too am a heckler. I've been literally called out before in a college basketball game from somebody in the stands due to my heckling. I kept it fun, but I definitely was getting after the player for North Central for Wheaton College victory. So, no, it you know, I could see some hurt feelings, but we can't have hurt players, Rutledge. We have enough hurt players in the playoffs right now.
We definitely do, and I agree with what you say there. It's that fan in Boston, he got a felony charge. But it's got to be, I think it's got to be a big deal. But you're right, hurt players. People are getting hurt out there not because of not because of fans, but AD has a groin injury and will miss Game 5, which is tonight.
Yep. No, he was supposed to be doubtful heading into the game, or he was up in the air. It was late breaking news that he was doubtful, and he's out. So definitely gonna be working towards that for AD, as I already touched on earlier. I think that that's a huge issue for the Lakers. I almost think that they're toast if AD is going to be uh, if AD is going to be having to deal with that injury issue for the rest of the series. It might not be able to play.
He definitely shows that he is the secret valuable piece where LeBron is kind of commanding the ship and AD is the executor, where instead of young LeBron was like, I command the ship and I execute. Without AD, they're just not the same team. You'd have to say it's a big deal to say that a team with LeBron James playing is probably not going to do well, even though LeBron James is on the court.
And you can't rely on Andre. I mean, Andre Drummond and Markieff Morris, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. I do love me some Markieff Morris, but you can't rely on those guys to soak up all the big man minutes, right? I think that the Suns have too much going on, and that they can do a lot of things, especially with CP3. And I still believe that CP3, although probably the most valuable player on his team, I will walk that back just a little bit. I don't think he's the best player on his team. You got Devin Booker out there who can just still flat out ball. So definitely got to be working out there. So along with AD, there is another big man that just got injured again last night. We've got a couple, as I like to call, porcelain dragons out there, and they all happen to be big men. Rutledge, talk me through that.
Joel Embiid got hurt and he left the game last night in what was the 76ers were trying to close out the series against the Washington Wizards. And I watched a good chunk of that game, and you saw that without him, the Wizards were able to sort of execute their will and their way all over the 76ers. It was like watching a different team. Joel Embiid is very valuable for that team. And if you weren't a big believer in him before, you need to be now. It shows how it's so hard to win an NBA championship based off the power of one. So, um, if
Not the power of love, the
not
power of one.
the power of one, the power of one's love. Um,
That's true.
but as it goes, I really think nice screen release. Um, with Joel Embiid out, who knows what's going to happen in this series? It could go seven. It depends on how quickly he comes back. But wait, I don't know. Do you know his timeline, Connor?
No, it definitely seemed like sort of a day-to-day type thing where he rests. Maybe Doc wants to rest him for Game 5, and then he's back for Game 6, assuming that that's still needed. So, no. Speaking of Doc, did you watch Doc Rivers' press conference
Tell
after
me
the
about
game?
it. I did. I
Oh,
missed
they were
it. Tell
just
me about
talking
it.
to him about, why did you take Ben Simmons off the floor? Do you think that he is, what kind of impact does Ben Simmons have? And one of the things that I love about Doc, he's been around the league for so long, and he's got so much respect of his players. He'll get after the officiating, just like I'm just getting got after right now.
We're
But
having quite a big third quarter here in the Staples Center.
quite a big third quarter here, and another steal. We need to get Steve Nash off the floor here in a big way.
Kobe.
Kobe. So no, I think Doc Rivers had some words to say for the officiating crew, or not the officiating crew, the media crew there after Game 5, just because people always want their stars to do one thing. Ben Simmons doesn't do. He's not the 40-point a night guy. Ben Simmons will do so many things outside of that. He needs to be more appreciated for the things that he does,
He
not
needs
the
to
things
have
that he doesn't do.
he needs to have a big next game though.
Yeah, I could see that.
Really quick in the last 40 seconds. Oops, just drove myself out of bounds. The last quick 40 seconds updates in the playoffs. Memphis and Jazz are at 3-1 series. Clippers and Dallas are tied. Denver and Portland are tied. Phoenix and Los Angeles are tied, all at 2-2 series. Wizards won, so it's 3-1 with 76ers Wizards. And it is Atlanta is beating New York, which Connor, you said that thing was going to go to 7. Atlanta absolutely took New York down this week. Milwaukee is closed out, beating Miami, and Boston is right now. So that is the NBA playoffs. It's a good tournament. It's a really good time. There's still it's enough basketball. The West, I will say, from what I'm seeing, I'm surprised that the West is as much contention as there is. I really thought the West would be a little bit more, you would see it be swayed. The East, of course, we know was heavy, but I didn't think the West was going to be so close.
I take the opposite approach. I thought that, the West is usually better top to bottom, or kind of, we'll say seeds 3 through 8. But being able to, in the bonus now, good night. Being able to have just a ton of really good talented teams is going to have for a lot of good talented series. So very interested to see how the West will continue to get won.
Oh, that foul shot was horrible. I agree. Score update, Brooklyn 51, Boston 42. As we end the third quarter, there is 4 minutes and 22 seconds left in their second quarter. But we're ending our third quarter here, FriendStream Sports, live on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, find our podcast, give us some love, send us a dove. FriendStream Sports.
Send us a dove.